Good morning, guys. This is Steve Skillern at Jet Lending, otherwise known as Hard Money Steve. We're going to talk this morning about where real estate investors lose money. Where does the deal go wrong? And probably number one on that list is they paid too much. That is a direct reflection of ARV. Going into the deal, you're overestimating the value of the property when you're going to be finished. And unfortunately, this is a very, very common thing with new investors. Now at Jet Lending, other lenders, most other lenders anyway, I won't say all, but most other lenders don't try to help you out here. They just order an appraisal, and if they even do that, and then they close your deal. And you're on your own as far as what was it worth going into it. Now you've got a loan you may not be able to pay back. And unfortunately, investors get frustrated looking for a deal, and they can't find one, and they start believing that they're not offering enough. And unfortunately, that's just a surefire recipe for disaster that will get you losing money every single time. You cannot overpay for a property and expect it to work out. It just does not work that way. So at Jet, how do we try to fix this? We give you our estimation of ARV before, if you want it, before you ever close. Now we're going to use our ARV when we close the loan. Now if you want to bring extra money to closing to cover the gap in what you think it's worth and what we think it's worth, and it's your money, you're fully entitled to do that. But we are going to give you a very strong opinion on what we think it's worth. And everybody in our office is experienced. Eddie, the owner, Eddie Gant, has flipped over or almost 2,000 houses. I think he's at 1,900 now. I've been in real estate for 40 years, basically. I got my first real estate license when I was in college. I grew up in it. My mother was a real estate broker. I have been an appraiser. I've been a realtor. I am an investor. There's just a lot of experience coming to the table. And if we give you an opinion, we're not always right. Not going to suggest that at all, but there is a lot of experience behind that opinion, and our goal is to keep you out of trouble. We are trying to make sure that you are successful and make good money, so that when you come back, so that you want to come back and borrow more money. If we put you in a deal and you lose money, or you end up losing it to foreclosure, then that's bad for everybody. And most importantly, bad for you. You do one deal and lose money, you're probably not going to do this anymore. If you're experienced and you lose money, you're going to probably not, number one, not lose as much, but number two, you're going to kind of understand that there are going to be occasions when you just miss something. Which brings me to the next topic: how do investors lose money? There's always unexpected things that come up, always. And whenever you're doing a repair budget, you have to have contingency built in. You have to. There's just things that come up. As you get more and more experienced, you can limit some of that, but there's always cost overruns. There's unexpected things. Let's stick to that for now. But there's always unexpected items. Next, underestimating repairs. That's not unexpected. That's just doing it wrong. And this kind of relates to ARV and being too aggressive on your value of the property. If the property repairs are higher than you think, or end up being higher than you estimated, then you're gonna end up spending more than you should have, or than you thought you would. That's an item that, or that's an area, I should say, that is just unfortunately, new investors don't understand the actual cost of a lot of items. They just don't. So that's another area that we look at your repair budget as well as your ARV, and we're trying our best to keep you out of trouble. Next on the item, or on the list, is markets change. Buying patterns change. Buyer profiles change. Interest rates change. You have to understand that you have to roll with those punches, and you have to adapt as things happen. So, for example, you put your property on the market and you got it at, let's say, $250, $300, whatever the list price is, and you don't get any traffic. You don't get any movement from any. You don't get any offers. You don't get any people looking at the house. Well, that most likely you've got it listed too high. Most likely it's just priced too high. You have to understand, it doesn't matter what interest rates are. There are always buyers, always. But it will change what they'll pay for things. So your buyer profile changes. You have to adapt. You always want to be competitive in your pricing. If you're trying to get the absolute top dollar, that's fine. But if you don't get a buyer, in my opinion, in the first 2 weeks, if you don't get somebody looking and quite a bit of traffic in the first 2 weeks, you need to reduce your price, period. Now, if you're reducing your price and your ARV, I'm going to keep coming back to ARV because it's that important. You priced your house at $300,000 when you did your loan, and you price it at $300,000 when you're finished, and you don't get any traffic in the first couple of weeks. Your ARV is wrong. So where does that change in price come from? When you're finished with the deal, you've got it sold, and you're figuring out your profit. Where did that price change show up? It shows up in your profit. It's the only place that can absorb it. So you reduce your price by $5,000, you reduced your profit by $5,000. You have to be realistic in your ARVs. So rookies tend to hold their properties too long. They don't make adjustments. One of the most successful investors that I know is also a realtor, and he prices his houses on a schedule so that if they don't have an offer within X number of days, they reduce it. If they don't have an offer in the next X number of days, they reduce it. And he works on a schedule, period. He does not deviate from that schedule. And he buys this house, gets them renovated on a schedule. He's got a very good contractor he works with. And like I said, he is a realtor. He's got a team, and his houses move quickly. And one of the most misunderstood parts of hard money is that you have to work on speed. Time will kill you in this business. Hard money's expensive. You cannot afford to hold properties long. It will annihilate your profit. So turn those houses, get them sold. Another area where investors make mistakes is they will rehab their houses, and they will do it to a niche market rather than to a broad market. For example, they may paint instead of painting the walls a light color, or a color that will appeal to nearly anybody, they'll paint a wall green, or and I'm not necessarily picking on green. There are shades of green. There are ways to make different colors appealing broadly, but you can't paint the entire house green. Okay, you might, I'm going to put a big asterisk on might, paint an accent wall green, something like that. But it has to appeal broadly. Otherwise, any buyers coming in are saying, I don't want to have to do the work, or they're just seeing additional expense to fix what you did. Contrast that with something that is broadly appealing. Buyers that want something in a very unique sense, they already know they're going to have to do something to make it theirs. And so that additional cost, they don't factor that in. Buyers that are having to change something that's got quirks to it, they factor that in. Another one I see often, and this one kind of seems intuitive, but I get a lot of this, is they want to do a ARV to top of the market value, or they want to get a top of the market ARV, and then they want to, let me rephrase that. They want to get a loan based on top of the market ARV, but they're doing a rehab to rent ready standards, not top of the market ARV. Well, you can't have both. It doesn't work that way. That to me seems kind of obvious, but that I get that a lot. Anyway, if you guys have questions, my name is Steve Skillern. I am at Jet Lending. My nickname is Hard Money Steve, so I look forward to talking to you guys. By the way, if you have a deal you would like me to quote, send me the purchase price, send me the ARV that you think it is. I'll pull comps and give you my opinion so that we're pretty much on the same page. Send me your estimated repair budget, send me pictures, we'll talk about it, and I should be able to give you a quote on the phone right there. If you need a pre-approval letter, call me. Let's talk about what your situation is. I'll tell you what you can afford, and I'll get you a pre-approval letter on the phone. So Steve Skillern, Hard Money Steve, Jet Lending. My cell phone is 346-218-2623. My link to get a quote is in the comments. Thank you guys. Look forward to seeing you at the Jet Deal Lab next Friday.